Creepy sleepy Uncle Joe just issued an executive order on cryptocurrencies. What could possibly go wrong?
Sounds like a lot more democracy is coming our way.
Hey guys, before we get into today's video, I want to give a real quick shout out to today's sponsor, Virtual Shield VPN. And the reason I promote it, guys, is because I use it every single day and I know that it works, and I've proven it in videos in the past. If you use the link in the description, you're going to get 50% off, and that's going to help you protect your identity, your activity, and your location anytime you're surfing on the net. That link is in the description below.
Now, as bad as you think life can be, just remember it can always be made a lot worse when you sprinkle in just a little bit of government. And that's what we got going here. The Biden administration has just created a new executive order concerning cryptocurrencies. And if this doesn't alarm you right now, right here with a sitting president sitting next to a Z bankster, one of the Z bankster, that's Janet Yellen right there. If that doesn't alarm you, then you're not awake to what's going on in the world. Biden just put out an executive order on cryptocurrencies. Nothing but good things can happen from there on, right? Here's everything that's in it. It says the U.S. president, I'm going to go ahead and expand this for you so you can see it. U.S. President Joe Biden signed an executive order on Wednesday calling on the government, Governo and Mentis, to examine the risks and benefits of cryptocurrencies. It's a long-awaited directive that has had the crypto industry on edge, not least due to growing regulatory concern around the world surrounding the nascent digital asset market. And they have been wanting to get into the digital asset market for a long time. It makes me wonder if they're really in it, but they just haven't released it yet. And to what extent are they in it? There had been reports of a divide between White House officials and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, leading to delays in the policy rollout. The crypto market got wind of the executive order overnight after the Treasury accidentally put out a since-deleted statement calling it historic and releasing some of the details ahead of time. The order was finally signed today. It calls on federal agencies to take a unified approach. Whenever you see federal agencies and unified approach in one system, it spells trouble for the individual. What's happening is when the government sees a digital asset or anything materialize on the horizon that they had nothing to do with and they don't have control over, they can't have that. The government is all about eliminating competition, and that's what the digital currencies came online for. That's what Bitcoin was supposed to be all about. That's what Ethereum was supposed to be all about, so that they could operate apart from government regulatory agencies. Why? Because that's where freedom is. The more you go toward government, the less freedom you have. The more you go away from the government, the more freedom you have. And the government just can't have a bunch of individuals out there operating under the framework and the umbrella of freedom. That's not how governments do. Governments want control. Like Washington said, the government is not eloquence, it's not reason. It's not care, it's not protection, it's force. And like fire, it's a dangerous servant and a fearful master. And that's what they want to do. They want to exercise mastery over you and I, the little peons. The order was finally signed on Wednesday. Here are the key things that you should know. The measure that was announced on Wednesday will focus on 6 key areas. Consumer and investor protection, because that's what the government's about, right? It's all about protecting you. It's all about your security. It's all about your safety. It's not about controlling you. It's not about putting their hands deeper into your pocket and taking more of what you got. Financial stability. Yeah, the government specializes in financial stability. Look at the erosion of the value of the U.S. dollar since the advent of the Federal Reserve. Illicit activity. Yeah, the government is one to talk about illicit activity. Stealing the tax cattle money, going to foreign wars, throwing the bodies of our sons and daughters on the dust pile of history. And they're going to talk about illicit activity. What they want is they don't want you to be free to operate apart from the control of the government. U.S. competitiveness on a global stage, financial inclusion, responsible innovation. Because the government has a long history of being absolutely responsible with every single dollar they steal from, extort from, take from the American people through taxes. Protecting consumers is an important part of the directive. What's the important part of the directive? Protecting consumers, protecting individuals. And if you believe that, I got some swampland in Upper New York to sell you. There have been countless stories of investors falling for crypto scams or losing huge sums of money through the cyber attacks on exchanges or users themselves. Guys, that's dangerous freedom. What's more dangerous than dangerous freedom? Dangerous monarchy, dangerous oligarchy, dangerous government control, dangerous regulations. That's far more dangerous than dangerous freedom. But I'd rather have dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. The government always comes on the scene to show their S on their chest so they go, we're here to protect you from dangerous freedom. Oh yeah, how are you going to do it? We're going to give you pleasant tyranny. The answer to dangerous freedom for the government is peaceful tyranny. The Biden administration is calling on the Treasury to assess and develop policy recommendations on crypto. He also wants regulators, controllers, to ensure sufficient oversight and safeguard against any systemic financial risk posed by digital assets. Kind of like the systemic financial risk back in 2008 when Bernanke got up there and said, oh yeah, everything's fine, everything's cool. And then just a couple months later, like, we need a $700 billion TARP bailout. If we don't, the entire financial system's going to crash. Oh, really? Who caused the problem? Well, we're not going to talk about that. While policymakers have been keen to downplay any systemic risks resulting from crypto, there have been increasing concerns over the role played by stablecoins. Talks about stablecoins like Tether. This is hilarious right here, guys. This part of the article is hilarious. Tether, the world's largest stablecoin with 80 billion in circulation, has attracted the ire of regulators over claims that its token is not sufficiently backed by gold. No, it's not backed by dollars held in reserve. So regulators object to Tether issuing their digital asset that's not backed by dollars, but they don't look at themselves and go, well, maybe we should point the finger at ourselves since our dollars are not backed by gold. Precious metals do not back our dollar. You know what does back it, though? The power and might of the U.S. military that can march into places and bring them back onto the reserve currency system. And another thing is command and control of oil fields still is what backs the dollar. If we didn't have the power and might of the U.S. military and the oil fields backing with the OPEC deal and all that kind of stuff that's going on behind the scene with the petrodollar reserve Ponzi scheme, the dollar would have already crashed. There would be no confidence in the dollar. But because it's forced on everybody, and most countries are required and forced by the U.S. government to use dollars to buy their energy, to buy their oil, that's what keeps it afloat. And it's hilarious that regulators are objecting to claims that the Tether token is not sufficiently backed by dollars, by paper currency, by worthless FRNs, Federal Reserve notes held in reserve. Tether says its coin is fully backed. So that's hilarious. Now I'm just going to deal with one other aspect of this illicit activity. Another key area Biden's executive order focuses on is rooting out illegal activity in the crypto space. That's activity that the government can't control. That's what they call illegal. Oh, we can't control it? Well, it's obviously illegal. And we correlate illegality with immorality. So if you're engaged in illegal, illicit activity because you want to be free from government restraints and regulations, we're going to call you a criminal. That's how that's how the government operates. The president has called for an unprecedented focus of coordinated action. That's a coordinated attack by all the alphabet soup agencies with the federal government working in concert with one another in a unified fashion to unleash unprecedented focus of coordinated action upon you, the individual who just wants to be free. You just want to be left alone. You don't want any of your money stolen from you. You don't want any kind of government regulations, but the government's going to march right into your life and force regulations on you. You wanted to escape with cryptocurrencies, and Joe Biden and Janet Yellen are going, nah, not so fast. Last month, U.S. officials seized $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin. Seized? They stole it. Their biggest seizure of cryptocurrencies ever related to the 2016 hack of crypto exchange Bitfinex. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, authorities are now also concerned about the possible use of crypto in helping sanctioned Russian individuals and companies evade the restrictions. There you go. We can't have you guys doing something on the free market playing field. We don't want a free market. We want a regulated and controlled market. Proponents of crypto say it's highly difficult for funds to be laundered through digital currency, however, as all transactions are kept public on the unchangeable record-keeping system known as the blockchain. And then it goes over the climate change and the U.S. competitiveness and talks about this digital dollar under the CBDCs, which are the central bank digital currencies. And I just want to play this clip right here from the Joe Rogan podcast where they basically called this. And it's easy to see, we've been calling this for years. They want to move everybody closer and closer to a digital currency system to where you're going to have to use their digital asset. Yeah, they're talking about, yeah, let's bring the digital dollar online to compete with all the other digital currencies. Soon, they're going to force everybody into a situation where, no, you have to use the digital currency. And then when you get the digital currency, oh, you can only use that digital currency for this. Oh, were you a bad boy or were you a bad girl? Did you post something on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram that we don't like and we think that you're an insurrectionist? Well, we're going to go ahead and cut off your ability to use those digital assets that we've set up for your safety and security and protection. And that's what they said right here on the Rogan podcast.
Do you feel like you're sounding the alarm
Yes.
for people that don't understand what the fuck is going on?
So here, I'll pull it up for you here, yeah? So there's the video.
Yes.
I don't know if your camera can see that, but
No.
there's the video. There's him speaking about it.
The G7 is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote that could be used alongside...
Right, so that's the guy who runs our economy in the UK. His name's the Chancellor of the Exchequer. And here is the article. Bank of England tells ministers to intervene on digital currency programming, yeah? And here's a quote from the article. This is in the Telegraph, the one he pulled up, but it was behind a paywall, so I'll just read the quote. Digital cash could be programmed to ensure it is only spent on essentials or goods which an employer or government deems to be sensible.
Holy shit.
Now, I'm going to take it one step further for you, Joe, right? So the vaccine passport infrastructure is in place. But now we know that the vaccine doesn't stop infection or transmission, but the checkpoint Charlie exists everywhere. They bring in digital banking, central banking digital currencies. You've got a scenario now that you're checking in and out everywhere you go using vouchers that are programmed and you can only spend where you're told you can spend them. There's another word for that, man. That's called the Chinese social credit system.
Or 100% tyranny. Now, it's bad enough that they control the value of our time and labor and energies through controlling the value of the dollar, but they want to take it one step further, and they've been wanting to do this for a long time, and digital currencies afford them the opportunity to do that. And some people might say, well, we already have that in the credit card system. Yeah, but they're talking about using the digital dollar and completely eliminating cash, bringing us toward a cashless society. If you have that kind of scenario played out, you thought you were controlled under the fiat currency Ponzi scheme system? Wait till you see what happens when they completely eliminate cash and you can't go to that yard sale and you can't make those private sales and purchases. They want to eliminate all that. They want their thumb on you completely. And the way to do it is to go digital and to force everybody into a one world digital currency system. And that's where this is headed. It says right here, it comes as China has led the charge towards central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, with more and more people using smartphones to make payments and handle their finances. Biden isn't saying whether the U.S. should launch its own digital currency. Rather, he's calling on the government to place urgency on research and development of a potential CBDC. You don't think the United States government, controlled by you-know-who, has an interest in creating central bank digital currencies, its own central bank digital currency, its own social credit score system, its own form of financial control, total control over every last human being in the United States?
That's what it's called. And anyone who watches Black Mirror will know what I'm talking about. That's that TV show, right?
Yeah.
So what they are telling us, and when I say they, who's they? People in power. That's the head of our economy, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, second most powerful person other than the Prime Minister and maybe the Foreign Secretary in the UK, right? He's telling us, I just played it there for you. He's telling us that's what he, as the UK, the head of the G7, want to bring in for the G7. So a scenario where, like in New York at the moment, because the passport infrastructure is in place, you bring in that digital currency and you've got this total control. And if I'm speaking to you the way I'm speaking now, and my employer or government, you heard that in the quote directly, yeah, deems me as saying or doing something inappropriate, suddenly I can't actually pay to come here and speak to you anymore. My digital currency won't even pay for the ticket because it will be known that I'm coming to speak to you. Sorry, your vouchers don't allow you to purchase that ticket to go and speak to Joe.
And that's what we've been seeing. We've seen the economic terrorism. I've been on the receiving end and still am on the receiving end of economic terrorism. I've been terminated from PayPal. I've been terminated from Venmo. I've been terminated from Patreon. And now you know they're just pushing you further away so that they can control you more and control you more. If they can do that kind of stuff and we don't stand up against it, and now they want to have a central bank digital currency controlling every single aspect of our lives, what you say, where you go, how you think, what you purchase, what you sell. You can't, it's like, imagine going through your garage and going, man, I haven't used that thing in 5 years. I'm going to go ahead and sell that in yard sale. Well, forget about it. And if you do, then you got to, they want to push you into a area where you have to use their central bank digital currency to do it. So we've got Joe Biden creating another executive order. By the way, guys, anytime you have an executive order, anytime you have the creation of a law, the more laws, the more executive orders, the less freedom that you have. And that is all by design because the government is all about control. Governo and mentis, to control the mind or mind control. They want to control everything about you. It's not about your safety. It's not about your security. It's not about your financial protection and well-being. It's about controlling you. And this is just another step in the advancement of the Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the you'll own nothing and be happy, the marriage of biology and technology, where they're going to want to plug you into the Internet of Things. This is all part of that landscape shaping up at breakneck speed. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.
While we have time and it still retains some of its perceived value, maybe it'd be a good idea to convert your worthless fiat into valuable, storable food. Don't be the one who waits till the food riots start happening. You don't want to be fighting panicking people in the store over that last jar of peanut butter. At Prepare with High Impact Flicks, you can get up to 3 air and watertight gasket sealed ammo cans, each filled with a 4-week emergency supply. 7 food varieties, 2,000 calories a day, 284 servings, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and each meal comes in a resealable, heavy-duty 4-layered pouch. And it's got a 25-year shelf life. Every order of a 4-week supply gets you $100 off plus free shipping. Here's how simple it is to make. I'm going to cook up some Granny's home-style potato soup. People are going to think I'm a culinary hero. You open the pouch, boil 4.5 cups of water, stir the contents, simmer on low heat for 15 to 20 minutes, take it off the heat, then let it set for 2 to 3 minutes before you serve it up.
Man, this stuff's so good. People are going to think Granny stopped by and filled your kitchen with a whole bunch of love.
Well, if Granny does stop by, she's going to fill your behind with a whole bunch of buckshot if you keep talking with your mouth full. Wipe your dang beard off. It's embarrassing. So maybe convert some of your worthless fiat into valuable food while you still can. Order now and get $100 off of up to 3 4-week emergency food supplies at preparewithhighimpactflix.com. The link is in the description.